This is a video called Saving Farah. My last video was saving Emily. Emily was performing great. I'd put a new pull cord on her. If you saw my last video, you saw that it was short at the time of testing, so I had to go and unscrew it and start it that way, and unscrew the cord from the handle and start it down here. So I had to put a new cord on it, and that helped a lot. And so now Emily is cutting grass at somebody else's house, and the lady that bought Emily traded this one in, and she said it had belonged to her mother, and she was the woman that gave it to me, is an older woman, and this is an older model poulan 22-inch. It's called a mulcher, and what that means with this, Craftsman used to make these a lot too. You can clip a little plate on there and it becomes a mulcher, but if that's not installed, then it's just a standard side discharge, which is what this is now because the plate is not there. So what I wanted to do is take a minute to show you this mower. I haven't done a thing with this. I haven't even tried to pull the cord, and that's because I can't pull the cord. And it's another maybe subtitle of this mower might be how to buy a used push mower and what to look for. And if you can find one that is, advertised on Facebook or something like that that says it's not running, then you can usually get a pretty good deal on it. And with Briggs and Stratton engines, they're pretty tough, and so you can repair them. You can repair the decks on these, the wheels, etc., the handles, and try and bring them back to life and turn them into really good lawnmowers again if you know what you're doing. But first you got to find out what's wrong with it. And so let's take a little journey here and see what's going on with Farah. As you can see, the cord is not attached to the handle, so she may be like Emily. It may be about 3 feet long, and you can start the mower by pulling it from here, but you don't want to do that. You want to put a cord on there, a new one, and attach to the handle like it usually is. You can see that it's missing a little tab on that handle over there, the wheel adjuster. If they're well lubricated and everything, you can kind of get by with that. The other 3 are there, and I probably have a spare I can put on there. This thing's been boogered up and is facing the wrong way. The other thing she told me is that they gave the mower to somebody for it to be repaired, and it never ran after that. Now, it may be that it didn't run because it's got no compression, and that's the key thing you want to determine when you're buying a used lawnmower, is does it have compression? And sometimes that's difficult to check for just an amateur person, especially if you're in this situation, which this one is. And this is something else you need to look for when buying a used mower. If you go to this area of the mower, which is the handle and where this cable goes into this little housing, if there is tape around that or a hose clamp or something like that, that usually means that the previous homeowner has left this mower out in the rain. And what happens is, say a long rain or several days, or it's been out in the yard for a couple of months or over the winter, the rain hits this cable and slowly runs down here and kind of drips and runs into this cable and runs all the way down in there, all the way, drip, 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 drip. And there's very fine wires that make up this cable. That's what makes it so flexible. It's made up of, dozens of very fine steel wire, and it all starts to rust. And once it rusts, it expands and gets all up in this cable, and it is not going to move. And what happens is the homeowner comes out in the spring after leaving it out all winter, and they try to push down on this, and it's so rusted that the only thing that happens is the spring on that switch doesn't move because it's rusted. This piece here will start to pop off because all the pressure goes there, and it will jump this way. What happens is it'll raise up on this end, and if you really force it, then it may just pop all the way off. If you've got one of the more modern mowers where this goes in, this is very thick steel. The newer, more modern ones, this is very thin. And what it'll do is it'll just bend this. It'll bend the handle and break the handle sometimes. So if you see a handle on a newer mower that's been bent there, there's tape or a hose clamp on here, that means this cable is probably rusted, and you may not be able to start this mower at all because you can't take the engine brake off, which is under here. So you can't pull the cord on it. So what you've got to do is to check this for compression is you have to get under there and remove that spring. And then at least you can check it. So whoever was selling this mower, you'd say, hey, look, I need to check and make sure this has compression. Do you mind if I take the big spring off for the switch under here, where I can at least pull the cord on this mower to see if it has compression? And what I mean by that is when a mower has compression, when you pull the cord, it's gonna come smoothly, and then you'll feel resistance, and then it'll go boop, and then you'll smooth and boop and smooth and boop as you pull the cord. And that's the compression of that piston going up there. And that is when the mower would fire if you had fuel in it, and if it was tuned up, and if everything was hunky-dory. That's when it would ignite. That's when it would fire, was when you feel that pressure. That's because the piston is pushing forward into that closed chamber and compressing that fuel mixture when that spark arrives, and that's what makes your mower run. And if you've got a thrown rod, or the rings are so worn that you don't have any compression, this mower is never going to run. And it's at that point it just needs to be salvaged, because it's not worth it to go in and replace rings on a mower that's maybe worth $100. So that's a couple of things you want to look for on these. Of course, you want to look and make sure it's got a spark plug, and if that spark plug is plugged in, screwed in, that's good. That keeps water intrusion out. And of course, you want to check the oil. And a lot of times when these mowers start having problems, the first thing that people do is put more oil in them, thinking that'll help it. But that's the usual thing. They'll stick a new spark plug in it, and they'll put more oil in it, and really what they've got is a kill switch problem, where it's never really going to allow it to start, or they've got old gas in it or something like that, carburetor issues. So you can put all the oil in the world in it, it's not going to change anything. Now, this mower hasn't moved since yesterday, so this should be an accurate oil reading. So let's look at that, because I'm making sure this thing has oil. If I wanted to, okay, so I hope you can see that. It is just slightly above the full mark. So that, and it's not jet black, so that's a good sign. That means there's probably not a blown head gasket. So I think Farah, which is what we're calling this mower, is going to be a good mower. But we'll find that over a process of several episodes as I take this from beginning to end. And again, I have not done anything with this mower. I haven't even pulled the cord on it. And that's one reason, is because that cable is rusted and frozen. So I've got to deal with that. I recommend this. I've looked under the deck to look at the blade. You want to do that. And if you see a bent blade, that means they may have struck something and the timing is off on the mower, which can be corrected. It may have a sheared flywheel key, which also can be corrected. So let's tilt this back. I've got to hold this one down. Oh, that didn't work. Let me get my toolbox out. Okay, there. That's how you can tilt these back, and that's the best way to work on them, because all the oil stays in the rear rather than getting up there and contaminating oil filters and what have you. Oh, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. This often happens. See all that wire and string and stuff wrapped around there? People need to learn to look under their mowers and see if they hit something, if anything's, you know, twisted around the crankshaft, because over time what that can do is, well, it'll affect performance, but over time, if it gets high enough, it'll damage that main seal and just rub it until you got an oil leak under here. So that blade is going to have to come off. I don't see that any damage to it, so that's a good sign. This is an older mower, and it's got the drain plug, which is right there. Discussed that in some of my previous ones. So here she is. This is Farah. I want to make sure I covered everything. Obviously that air filter, what is that? Wow. They've stuck a plastic bag, it looks like, in that air filter. That ain't good. So yeah, this will be fun to work on. And so stay with me. We're going to do this from beginning to end and see if we can get Farah running, turn her into a great running push mower that will cut grass for a family somewhere around here. So signing off for now, and stay tuned. Please subscribe. Please comment. Ask me a question about any topic. But push mowers, of course, are fun to talk about here. If you're watching this, that's what you're interested in. So let's talk. And so this is the end of episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2, and we start going into repairing this mower.